Rena Davis is a renowned biochemist who has done extensive research on the amazing benefits of enzyme hydrolyzed collagen protein. Rena has a Master's of Science, is a clinical nutritionist, and operates her own wellness clinic in St. Helens, Oregon. The clinic has specialized in natural, holistic, and individualized care for over 20 years. Rena is a firm believer in holistic healthcare and is an ardent student and teacher of the principles of wellness. Rena is here today to share with you her thoughts on enzyme hydrolyzed collagen, an evolutionary protein. Rena, I keep hearing about this incredible, life-changing product that people have experienced amazing results with. And the phrase that keeps resurfacing in relation to these experiences is enzyme hydrolyzed collagen. So Rena, what is enzyme hydrolyzed collagen?
Well, that's a wonderful question. Enzyme hydrolyzed collagen is a way of breaking down protein into shorter and shorter peptide chains so they're more bioavailable or more assimilatable in the body. Now, as your question implies, there is more than one methodology for breaking down proteins or collagen. So some of that is done by using lye. No, we don't want that. Some is done by heat or other chemical processes. What we've learned about enzyme hydrolyzed collagen is it leaves these short peptides intact, and those peptides are literally put from the mouth into the stomach and into the bloodstream without breaking down. Now, this is really important because when we understand that proteins are directors, they're the building blocks of life, especially animal life. And when the body recognizes a short-chain peptide and chooses not to break it down further and delivers that protein chain intact into the bloodstream for assimilation in the body, this is where we get the highest, best good. You see, proteins are the only nutrients that hold information. Now, this is really important for us to understand. In the world of nutrition, we talk about antioxidants, we talk about their benefits, we talk about carbohydrates, we talk about all of these things, but it's pretty easy to forget that proteins not only recombine with one another to basically form thousands of independent molecular chains that basically are your hair, your skin, your bones, your neurotransmitters, your hormones, your enzymes even. But even more importantly, they are the only components that can hold information, transmit information, and modify information to direct the body's chemistry.
Very interesting, Rena. So what is the history of enzyme hydrolyzed collagen?
Well, we kind of have to go way back in time, almost full 10 centuries ago. The Saint Hildebrand was one of the first people to ever record the benefit of animal extracts on the human body. In specific, she found that certain animal extracts could be used for treating pain. We fast forward now several centuries, and collagen has kind of become a way of life in our society. Collagen has been used in many applications and is common in cosmetics and food stuff today. But the really interesting part of the story begins back in the 1970s. And even then, collagen was readily available as a food additive. And a wonderful scientist by the name of Arnold Gans sort of reestablished using enzyme hydrolyzation to protect these short peptide chains so that collagen bioavailability would be higher and more therapeutic and used, in fact, in medical application.
What are the health problems associated with a lack of hydrolyzed collagen?
Well, this is where the real fun begins. According to biochemistry, the breakdown of the connective tissue of the human body is the aging process. So isn't it interesting that as we walk on through our lives, all of a sudden the day comes where we notice our skin's a little thinner, the hair, texture, color, volume starts to change. We work really hard, we exercise hard, we try to eat as good as we can, and still the lean muscle starts turning to fat and we're bigger than we want to be. And then all of a sudden we begin to notice other changes like our first senior moments. Well, you know what? This is the beginning of the aging process, and defined by biochemistry is the breakdown of this connective tissue. And really, in short, what happens is this. Once we are not regenerating connective tissue or collagen in the body at the same rate or higher than it's breaking down, then this leads to what is called degenerative conditions in the human body.
So, Rena, what are the health benefits of hydrolyzed collagen protein?
Well, certainly the studies have now clearly shown us, and it's such a fascinating subject. The research is still going on today in 2005, 6, 8, and 10. Articles published in some of our most prestigious journals have shown, for example, that a good quality hydrolyzed collagen can help the body stop joint damage and indeed increase the production of connective tissue in our joints, can help improve the quality, density, and elasticity of our skin. Even lean muscle development, and even studies now being done on using quality hydrolyzed collagen for patients in comatose states have prevented muscle wasting. So we're still on this journey, and it makes one ask the question, well, why collagen? Well, guess what? It is the perfect protein, is the identical match of the proteins in our own bodies. The very structure of us is collagen, and supporting and maintaining that is going to help us support and maintain the quality of our body through our lives.
How does enzyme hydrolyzed collagen differ from other forms of protein?
Well, first and foremost, it's because it is our natural protein. We live in a world today where there's forever the search for the perfect protein supplement. It doesn't matter whether you're in this country or Japan. The truth is everyone is on the hunt for a quality protein. Quality protein literally translates to a very high, what is called PER, protein efficiency ratio. What this refers to is how much of what you're consuming is the body going to be able to first absorb and then utilize. Numerous studies have shown that collagen protein for human consumption has the highest PER ever rated over an egg, over soy, over whey or other dairy forms. And we also live in this very unusual time where we are finding that more and more people are able to identify allergies, sensitivities, and indeed intolerances. One of the things that we face clinically today as healthcare professionals is to help identify those food sensitivities in our clinical clients and patients.
Rena, are all forms of collagen and collagen products the same?
Oh boy, no. Certainly not all collagens are the same. Now, collagens can be derived from a variety of sources. Fish, in Europe, porcine is most common, and of course, bovine here in our country. Personally, I like bovine the best because, believe it or not, cows and people are chemically very, very similar. And for that reason, we use cows to do all kinds of things other than just provide food for us. Now, the interesting thing about these various collagens is also very much about the process. As we alluded to a little bit earlier, it turns out that we can hydrolyze collagen in many different ways. Now, what we want, though, is, as we spoke about, proteins being able to hold information. This is really very important. We can take alanine and arginine and glycine as amino acids individual and put them in our body, and our body certainly is going to utilize them because that's what our body does. But we also understand that when we combine, when Mother Nature in particular combines amino acids in certain groups or bonds, as it's called, that they carry information into the system. And so what we've learned about enzyme hydrogen collagen protein is that we get this very high absorption and we get this director action. We certainly know that we have regenerative capabilities from collagen that has been processed in this specific way that is not as evident in other forms of hydrolyzation.
Now, what about absorption in hydrolyzed collagen?
It's such a terrific question because we've said for many years you are what you eat. Today we know it's not what you eat at all, it's what you absorb from what you eat. And so The hydrolyzation process, which these long protein bonds that form the various kinds of collagen in the human body, think of strands of hair braided together or spirals or helixes. And then we have other kinds of collagen that form like a net. Think of like the screen on your window. These are the foundation for depositing other nutrients, in particular minerals, which then allow us to repair a bone. For example, if you break your bone, then the body goes in with a certain type of collagen, lays it down across that break, and then the body brings in the calcium and the phosphorus and the vitamin D and so on, and lays it over that framework, and that's how your body heals your bones. Process is actually pretty similar in our skin or our hair. And even that process is not dissimilar when we create neurotransmitters and hormones. So in the world of job body, it is proteins that drive the regeneration of who we are. If we didn't have proteins, you know what? We'd die the day we were born or very shortly thereafter. So the role of proteins and the role of proteins that are identifiable by the body and not rejected, as in one that would come from, say, a food you were intolerant or allergic to, is extremely important. Now, when we go through this digestive process and when we go through the hydrolyzation process, we really want to be able to come out the other side with some of those larger molecular structure amino acids totally isolated so that we're able to absorb them well. But then we want what are called the short peptides, little bitty chains of 2, 3, and 4 amino acids that are still hooked together, because in that bonding, in that hydrogen bonding, we actually have some information that is being transferred about how we're going to repair and what we're going to repair. This is most evident in enzyme hydrolyzed collagen.
Is there a higher percentage of absorption in hydrolyzed collagen versus other forms of protein?
Well, the answer to that is yes, there is. In many forms of protein, your PER, protein efficiency ratio, is really quite low. But with enzyme hydrolyzed protein, it is the highest. Your PER ratio is the highest, not only over other collagens, but over other proteins in general, chicken or a steak or a whey-based protein shake. All of those things, our PER ratio is going to be significantly higher. So very much more efficient.
So, Rena, I've heard that hydrolyzed collagen can help improve sleep. Have you found that to be true?
When we look at hydrolyzed collagen, we begin to know that collagen has earned a respectable reputation for a lot of different things. Effects on skin, reduced joint pain, maintaining, or even in the case of athletes, enhancing lean muscle, certainly providing energy. One of the most profound things about enzyme hydrolyzed collagen has always been its profound ability to help people sleep. Sometimes we don't even know we're not sleeping well until we start sleeping well, and that's because if we're not having trouble going to sleep or staying asleep, we think that we're getting into deep REM sleep. Now, REM sleep equals regeneration. We sleep for a reason, to rest our organs, to cleanse our bodies. In that sleep state, quality sleep becomes a major player in our health. Certainly the studies are pretty profound in this area now. We know that the amino acids that cross the blood-brain barrier can help the body produce serotonin and then melatonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that regulates pain, mood, sleep, and appetite, and our cravings for carbohydrates, which include sugar. And from serotonin, we make melatonin. And melatonin is a very interesting compound because it serves the brain as not only a sleep-inducing hormone, but it also serves as one of the few antioxidants present within the brain itself. So what we know about enzyme-processed hydrolyzed collagen is that it does effectively cross the blood-brain barrier, especially when taken on an empty stomach right before sleep. We begin to see all kinds of benefits in the improved quality of sleep, sleeping more deeply, getting up less frequently during the night, and waking in the morning much more refreshed and much more ready to go.
So how can a hydrolyzed collagen product contribute to an athlete's performance?
This is such a great question because this is one of the areas where so much study has been done. Enzyme hydrolyzed collagen has a wonderful natural base of what are called branched-chain amino acids, BCAAs for short, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. These are amazing. Their chemical structure, their molecular structure is different than all other amino acids, hence the name branched chain and how they connect. And inside the muscle, they play an amazing role to the person who's going to exercise as a weekend warrior or someone who has a bigger target, such as a professional athlete or competitive athlete. Because branched-chain amino acids, if you get enough of them prior to workout, and in the case of a long-distance runner, during competition or workout, you can minimize the amount of lactic acid that builds up in the muscle. And you can also have, with branched-chain amino acids, another amazing facet, and that is they are one of the few groups of amino acids that can be converted to glycogen at the muscle level. So runners, bicyclers, long-distance performance athletes will tell you when they've consumed a high-quality collagen protein, hydrolyzed collagen protein, that the wall gets a lot further down the road, the recovery time happens much more rapidly, and they don't wake up next day feeling that achy all-over malaise that you so often do. You know, we forget very often that exercise creates free radicals and does tissue damage as well. We think only about the positive benefits. This is one of the reasons that so many of our professional athletes have so many problems when they retire, is because they haven't been protected against this lactic acid buildup. Here we have the perfect answer. Enzyme hydrolyzed collagen, very natural, rich source of branched-chain amino acids.
Can hydrolyzed collagen help energy production?
Well, it sure can. When we talk about glycine as one of the more important amino acids, it's certainly important for growth and DNA metabolism, and for forming collagen itself, and for something called phospholipids. In addition, it's absolutely critical for blood sugar control. And that's really what we talk about. When we talk about being able to sustain our energy, we talk about having enough fuel for the brain to direct what's going on down below. And we also talk about having good blood sugar regulation. If your blood sugar remains stable, your body's ability to perform and have energy continues. Take a look at the person, for example, who has hypoglycemia. Their energy goes up and down like somebody's graph having a heart attack. Whereas when blood sugar is stabilized and built up and sustained by amino acids, it also means that we have access to glycogen-stored carbohydrate. So in these three areas, your enzyme hydrolyzed collagen becomes absolutely a powerhouse of energy.
So, Rena, there are so many types and forms of collagen protein. How does the average person find the best source or the best product?
Myself, having had such a tremendous result years ago with hydrolyzed enzyme collagen protein, that I've been on the hunt myself, and I found something that I think is not only unique in today's market, but in fact a step ahead of all other collagens out there. And that is in part the delivery system, and the product is called Probita. And I just love this product. It's so amazing. Number one, it looks like a little piece of yummy taffy, and so you chew it up. Well, we talk about bioavailability of proteins. Well, that bioavailability of proteins begins in our mouth by mixing our food with saliva. And we know that the smaller amino acids, for example, glycine is the smallest molecular structure of all of the amino acids out there, and it packs a wallop because of all the wonderful things it does for us, can be absorbed right through the mouth and into the bloodstream. I like the fact that the amino acid profile of Probita is quite a bit different than any of the others out there. And because of that, people can look to these kinds of benefits when they take this product. This highly portable product, I might point out. Certainly appetite control. I would be amazed, based on my own experience, if anybody started on Probita and were on it more than 3 or 4 days and stopped, that they wouldn't notice the kind of appetite balancing that they were getting. I don't want to say suppression, because it really isn't about suppressing appetite. It's understanding that these very proteins form the various chemicals in our body that help us regulate appetite and balance blood sugar and improve cognitive function. This product is providing such a beautiful fuel, a precursor to allow us to go back to where we were years ago. I'm in my 60s now. One of the things that happened to me after menopause was that I found that I really couldn't skip meals. And I didn't really like that. I mean, I used to be a mountain climber and a skier and all kinds of things. And I love the fact that I could go 6, 7, 8 hours without eating and be just fine. Well, that all changed. The blood sugar wasn't as stable. I ran out of energy. And I find that this Probita has given me back that option. I can work from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night at my clinic. If I have one Probita around 3, 4 o'clock and chew it up, I find I'm absolutely in control when I get home at night at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Whereas prior to Probita, I would have probably started eating from the minute I came through the door because I would be so tired and so hungry. I don't keep unhealthy food in my home, but you can gain weight eating too much good food as well. So having this benefit, this energy, the stability of my blood sugar, and the control of my appetite through a foundation of proteins is really important to me. I'll tell you something else. The reduced joint pain for me and many others, I think, is going to be an amazing, I call them fringe benefits of this product. Because you know what? Just having balanced blood sugar and being able to regulate my own dietary intake is pretty miraculous all by itself. But to know that my left knee, which has got almost 2,000 stitches in it, wasn't doing me pretty good in my 50s and my 60s, is suddenly totally functional again like it was before it was ever injured, has allowed me to have a lifestyle that I really want to continue in my 60s, my 70s, until the good Lord takes me home. And I'll tell you something else I've noticed in a short amount of time with Probita. My muscles are stronger. I don't have to hire all those kids to come and move all those big pots on my deck and in my greenhouse for me anymore. I can do it myself. Thank you very much. So Probita, we're finding really in a very short amount of time, helps us with appetite regulation. Certainly, I've noticed a difference in my skin and especially on my neck. And the gals out there will tell you this is one of the hardest places to fix in the aging parameters of skin that there is. Certainly reduced and improved my joint flexibility, my joint strength, and reduced pain and inflammation and energy. You know what? I'm back to being able to do that 12, 13, 14 hours and not feeling like I want to go home and go to bed and forget about even eating. Take a look at Probita. I think if you're like me, you're going to find that this is the highest quality with the most amount of protein of any supplement that I've seen out in the marketplace today.
So, Rena, have you evaluated the amino acid profile in Probita?
I really have, and I was fortunate enough to be allowed to do that. Collagen contains naturally 8 of what are called the 9 essential amino acids. Amino acids are divided into 2 groups, essential and non-essential. It's really important for our listening audience to understand non-essential doesn't mean that you don't need them. Non-essential is a category of amino acids that can be manufactured within our own bodies if we have enough of the 9 essential amino acids at one time. So the scientists that helped create Probita have modified the amino acid structure of Probita to A, provide all of the essential amino acids, which is really good. We need that as an on-the-go food. It's pretty wonderful. And B, rebalance that amino acid profile a little bit to provide these precursors for the chemistry that regulates mood and pain and even our quality of sleep. It's unlike anything else that's out there today.
So, Rena, as a woman, I'm growing concerned about my aging skin. So my question to you would be, does enzyme hydrolyzed collagen provide any anti-aging effects?
Yes, it really does. All collagen does to a certain degree. For example, you could go out and buy Jell-O, and you would get some benefit to your skin. There's no doubt about it. It's been utilized in that regard. But the difference between gelatin. And our enzyme hydrolyzed collagen is quite remarkable. For example, enzyme hydrolyzed collagen, a good quality hydrolyzed collagen, you can immediately mix it in any kind of a liquid, cold, lukewarm, and it instantly dissolves. And when it cools down, it doesn't regel. This has changed basically the molecular weight that is measured in Daltons. Earlier, we were talking about how enzyme hydrolyzation allows some of these shorter protein chains to remain intact and actually be measured as being absorbed into our bloodstream. And this is one of the reasons why when people start on a quality collagen product, they will notice almost always three things, sometimes within even a few days: that their skin feels softer over time, that it's more elastic and denser. If they get a scrape or a burn, that it naturally heals more quickly. And as the collagen allows our skin to hang on to its moisture better. It's lack of moisture in our skin that creates, in part, the wrinkles. And so by re-energizing the production of our own collagen, by providing these precursors that the body identifies right now, we definitely see that the skin tones up, the elasticity comes back, that thinning skin that is a common comment that you see in most of the aging world, whether you're talking scientifically or out in the community, tends to diminish. But I think what's more exciting than all of that, because let's face it, there are creams out there that'll do some of that for you. But what's really exciting about the collagen is we begin to see over time that the underlying structure, the muscle tone, ligament, and tendons under our skin begin to lift up. And so our shape of our face and our cheekbones now gives us a much more youthful appearance. You know, over time it'll be fun to see before and after photos of various people as they've utilized Probita for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, even a year.
Have there been any studies or scientific research on enzyme hydrolyzed collagen?
There's been a tremendous amount done on collagen in general. We have to kind of divide collagens up because you have collagens as a medical food, and then collagen as food used in cosmetics and manufacturer products, food-consuming products today. Now, the really interesting thing is in the field of medical food, this is where the cold enzyme hydrolyzed collagen has been most studied. There have been very recent studies, in fact, published in the American Journal of Dietitians, Food Sciences magazines, a number of journals. And perhaps I think one of the most profound for me in reading this information was a study that was done on comatose patients. You know, one of the issues for people in coma, whether that be medically induced because of the trauma or some other reason, the hardest thing that we face is not seeing muscle wasting. Now, muscle wasting is sort of the appearance on the outside of what's also happening on the inside. So if we see that the muscle is wasting, we know the liver is wasting, the stomach is wasting, the heart is wasting, the blood vessels are wasting. A couple of studies, in fact, that were published in the American Journal of Dietitians was the effect of enzyme hydrolyzed collagen that was fed into the feeding tubes of comatose patients and how it absolutely stopped any muscle wasting whatsoever. That's significant. You know, they're not up. They're not moving. They're not walking. They're not talking. They're not doing all the things that you and I are today. So I think it's pretty logical to assume that if we can stop muscle wasting in a comatose patient, what can it do for those of us who are active? Even if the activity is nothing more than cleaning our homes, brushing our teeth, and getting off for the day, whether we're out really banging the pavement, riding the bike, or swimming, it doesn't matter. I think the object lesson is quite obvious.
Rena, what is it that you like about this product being in a chewable form?
Well, first and foremost, it's portability. Almost all the collagens that are out there have been liquid. And with all the restrictions on travel and flight today, where you can't take more than 2 ounces, most of the liquid collagens have got to be refrigerated. so they're not very portable. Many of the collagens that are available in the market today that are chewable only have 100, 200, 300 milligrams. Well, we're not even close therapeutic dose. You're going to have to eat a whole bag in a day. This particular one that I like so much that I've discovered has got 4 grams of collagen, and now we're getting to therapeutic levels. I like the fact that we chew it. If we really wanted to discuss today's fast-paced society, if you sit in a restaurant and you watch people eat, they chew their food 2, 3, 4 times, boop, down the hatch. Now, we know that that disturbs the normal processes of digestion. First, we chew our food, we mix saliva. That's the beginning of digestion. This begins to separate certain components of our food. Then the acid in the stomach takes it to another level. Then when the food leaves the stomach, the bile acts on it. We have yet another pH change. We separate the protein from the fat. We emulsify the fat. Finally, the protein gets into the small intestine where it's broken down into amino acids so it can run off to places and be reassembled into skin, hair, neurotransmitters, enzymes, protective, digestive. All of that goes on and on. I think it's critical to chew protein. I think it's critical to start that digestive process with saliva. And the wonderful thing about enzyme hydrolyzed collagen is when we chew that, we're actually making it very easy for the amino acids that are already free form to be picked up and utilized almost instantaneously. And you can tell that, by the way, when you chew it. Because if you're really hungry, when you chew up one of these little squares, give it 15 minutes. You're going to find that that hunger has been satisfied pretty nicely. So we know that we're getting some value of these proteins into the bloodstream very, very, very rapidly. That, again, helps us maintain the integrity of these short-chain peptides.
So, Rena, with me taking this product for the first time, would your recommendation be to take it in the morning, in the evening, or all throughout the day?
Great question. And that's the fun thing about good quality collagen. You can take it anytime your stomach's empty. It's really important to understand that taking it on an empty stomach is critical to getting the types of effects that we're looking for here. Amino acids are very gregarious. They just love to recombine with one another. And again, we want to protect these individual amino acids and these short-chain peptides. So we want you to chew it up on an empty stomach 30 minutes or longer, you can go longer, before you're going to eat a meal. I think people should play with this. I've asked my clients to do this. We handed out several boxes and said, give us your feedback. We want to know what you think. How does it work for you? When do you take it? Some of them find that it's most ideal first thing in the morning before breakfast and then again at bedtime. But other people said, I kind of get this low energy dip about mid-morning and I'm looking for that donut and that cup of coffee and, I'm trying to take off a few pounds. I certainly don't want to add any more pounds. They take it then and they get the appetite control, mood elevation, and energy increase that they're looking for. Then there's the Renas of the world. My low energy is always 3, 4 o'clock, that Welch's grape juice commercial of mid-afternoon slump. That's when I like to take mine. I take mine in the afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock, a few hours after lunch. If I do that, when I get home at night, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, doesn't matter. I'm in control of my mood, control of my appetite. I can fix the family meals for the pets as well as the people and be in absolute control for the rest of the night. And sometimes I'll take 3 a day just because it sustains me, gives me the energy, keeps the brain fog out of my head. I love this stuff.
It seems that protein shakes are one of the most popular ways to consume protein. I see them all over the gym. What are your thoughts concerning those taking this form of protein?
The nice thing about a collagen chew is that it's portable. You can chew it up on your way to the gym. You don't have to mix up anything. You don't have to add extra calories if you don't want to. Sometimes people working out want to carbohydrate load, but there's lots of ways to carbohydrate load. The reality is, though, the rubber meets the road with the proteins and the branched-chain amino acids. These are the guys that are going to really help, that and arginine and other amino acids that are highly present in this form of protein over others. The problem with many of those protein shakes, as I see it, is kind of like when I feed my betas. The food says do 3 or 4 of these little pellets 3 or 4 times a day, and all that does is feed the fish and make them fat and make you change the water more. The point is this. Every one of these protein shakes that I've seen out there, for the most part, are 20, 30, some of them as much as 40 grams of protein per serving. Well, the catch-22 is this is going to be one of the ways that you're going to load up on some weight, because you can only absorb, even with a very active lifestyle, around 10 grams of protein at a time. Now, the body likes protein. It likes it a lot. So what it does is it grabs that excess protein and does what? Converts it to fat and stores it. So I guess if you're trying to bulk up because you're going to be pushing a lot of weight and you need to look big and strong, or if you're going to be a football player, that can have value. But if you're like most of us, we're looking to be trim, flexible, high energy, good sleep, low body fat. Well, then start thinking about how the body itself works. 2 of these collagen chews gives you about 8 grams. If you're really busy and running hard and you do a third one, you're still in pretty good shape, and you're not putting a lot of excess either into fat storage, or, heaven forbid, if you have sugar regulation problems, you can start spilling proteins through your kidneys. Not a good idea.
So, would you recommend this chewable form of hydrolyzed collagen for anyone prior to a workout?
Yeah, I really would. We forget that exercise creates free radicals. Listen, you guys, if you don't think so, stop and look at what happens to all these professional athletes. I don't care if they're runners, boxers, football players, soccer players. They get into their 50s, they're pretty beat up. And they're beat up because we teach them to protein and carbohydrate load. We don't teach them about protein efficiency ratio. We don't teach them about what it takes to neutralize that lactic acid, that byproduct that builds up and is tissue destructive in athlete performance. So when you can come forward with a protein that is so high in branched-chain amino acids, which have been clinically shown over and over and over again to help neutralize lactic acid, I teach my athletes not only to take 2 before they work out, but 2 more after they've completed their workout, so that we are getting those lactic acid neutralizing amino acids in at optimal levels.
Rena, this has been such an amazing discussion, and I have learned so much from you. In closing, I would love to know what your concluding thoughts are with enzyme hydrolyzed collagen.
Well, we're seeing once again what we saw all those years ago and still continue to see in today's medical arena, that the therapeutic value of enzyme hydrolyzed collagen and its bioavailability to the human is better than powdered collagen that you don't necessarily know where it came from or how it was processed. In short, the top of the walk of any collagen out there is enzyme hydrolyzed collagen that comes from really pure, clean sources.
Please understand that individual results vary, and different people experience different results from these products. No guarantees, expressed or implied, are made. The discussion of various potential benefits to be derived from using these products are not meant as guarantees. Also, this is not a substitute for medical advice. You should consult your physician before beginning any diet, supplementation, or regarding medical symptoms.